Seems to be attending to the guests.
Alright. Should we roll for this maybe, or just...
Well, what does he want to say?
Well, he will
Michael,
just...
I love you.
Suddenly just runs in. Ah!
No, I love you, and runs out. Wah!
No. Where exactly are we going anyway? Are we going far outside of town?
Well, you have the map. You're going to Habe Sanatorium.
Alright. Let's see.
It's over here.
Ah. Well, Arenoss will just going and see how she's doing. If she's not extremely busy first.
She is attending to the guests, so she is somewhat busy.
All right. He will just tell her then that he and the rest of the party are going away for a bit, and they're gonna investigate what has happened in the last couple of days.
She nods. Very well. I'm sure you. The situation is well at hand. The Spiral Vanguard didn't fail us last time. I'm sure they won't this time. And she smiles.
No, I hope not. We will certainly be able to find out what's happened.
She nods. Very well. Good luck then. He sort of looks out through the door to try to see the rest of the party, and then someone sort of calls her, and she says, "Yes, I'm coming." And she turns around and sort of hurries up with gathering beer and steins or whatever it is she's doing.
All right. Arenoss will just nod to her and say, "We'll talk more later, I guess."
She shouts after, "Yes, we certainly will. Good luck."
And to you as well. And Arenoss will head out.
All right. And as the party prepares to leave Sandpoint for the sanatorium, we will take a 5-minute break here to visit bathroom, get something to drink, etc.
All right.
Well, Saloro has come into possession of some very interesting items.
That's right. Don't you tell anyone. No spoilers.
I'm not going to tell them what they are. Don't worry.
That's right.
I'll be
You're
back
not
soon.
gonna tell us? God damn it.
That's right.
No, I'll respect what the wizard wants to do.
That's right. Maybe if you were better at Arcana.
I can't help how I was born with a low intelligence.
You have to be trained in it anyway in order to identify a magic.
I am trained in it.
Well, Alvyn there rolling, unless he's
Oh,
trained
yeah.
in it too.
No. I could steal it from you.
Well, you see, that's an interesting thing you've just said there, isn't it, DDS?
I wouldn't tell you what it does still.
I think I have an idea what it does, but yeah, not really sure.
See, the Scarecrow is there to prevent you from trying Totally.
It scares away gnomes.
Right?
Suddenly start screaming.
With its soulless button eyes.
This scare gnome.
I just hope it
Must roll 20 on
doesn't
a-
start screaming in the middle of combat or something and just makes Arenoss
See,
jumps to the ground.
Gnome's like, why won't the Scarecrow hit me? I can't turn invisible. This is bullshit. I can't deal with that shit. Oh, man. And of course, you know, I mean, you can always take a look at, I mean, it just noted in the chat, Saloro's, you know, all this entire time, anyone in the party's known him, including Arenoss. He's always worn nothing but brown. Now he's got, like, a gray cloak on. Like, what? On top of all the brown.
Oh,
Some colour is finally emerging.
That's right.
I also have a grey cloak.
He has
Right.
discovered his
See,
fashion
but
sense.
mine is glowing with arcane wrath.
Arcane Wrath?
Arcane wrath, true story.
Oh, interesting.
Maybe if you could perhaps, you know, identify just by looking at it, you know, well, Saloro's wearing it.
I could certainly try, yeah.
You could try. Could be a thing.
No.
So, the two arcane users in the party.
Oh, it's sparkly. Ooh. Magic glitter dust. Oh, I see.
One of them owns a ton of magical items, the other one can't identify a single one.
Well, I only have a +7, so.
That's right. So, and it's
Only
only...
a +7, that's all I have.
Yeah, but you haven't trained,
Yes.
Erevan.
Both of us haven't traded,
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah.
Shouldn't you have more than since your intelligence is higher?
I should, but by the way, basically me and Jonas were speaking around, I think it was like the first or second session about this, and it was the fact that because I actually have a racial bonus towards Arcana, he let me use it anyway for these training purposes, as long as it's not detect magic itself.
All right.
The identification will let me do. So.
I can roll with that. That, you know, since I have bonuses to some of my skills courtesy of my race, I'm able to make checks for those too. Woo! Spring break! History and religion. That's right.
So that's why you were so good helping me out in Thistletop.
Yep. It's because, I mean, I might not directly pursue it myself, but it comes across after a few thousand years, and, you know, living in the immortal sea, the astral sea and all that jazz. It just kinda happens.
Could I use diplomacy on Saloro, by the way?
You could. I have a pretty strong insight. That is one of my trade skills.
Yeah, all right.
You're not kidding. I think he has the highest in the party.
No, Alvyn has the same.
So, well...
So it's still the highest.
Yeah.
I still have the high.
Yeah,
I still have a plus 14 to my diplomacy, so might work.
Well,
It's
you
possible.
see, you'd have a natural stiff penalty courtesy of the fact that I'm inherently distrusting of you, courtesy of your outlook on life.
It depends solely what I'm saying to you.
Well, no, miscellaneous factors do apply.
I mean,
Yeah, of course.
so yeah, I mean, courtesy, you know, my general attitude towards you is unfriendly, but other conditional modifiers being like, I don't trust your competence.
Of course. But Arenoss will basically say that it might be good if you tell us what that scarecrow does, so it doesn't surprise us later or does anything that we're not expecting, and it might help us if we know.
Saloro says, Yes, I was planning on bringing it up at some point myself. Apparently, critical diplomacy.
Roll a critical insight to counter it. Oh, Rahal was typing.
You now love me.
Yeah, right, good show. You're not bunnying my character like that. As a player, I can determine how I feel without you trying to use skill checks to manipulate me. If you're gonna be like that, I'm not letting you know anything.
I will do this until you like me, though. I will make you like me.
Actually, your check reverses. He's no longer unfriendly. He's now hostile to you.
Make an intimidate check to force him to love you.
If you don't think I can't detect your honeyed words.
I think you could, yeah, but...
Your foolery. You have another thing. I will make you like me.
Does Saloro answer, or...?
Oh, I was gonna tell you, we're done now.
No?
You kind of ruined it. He's about to tell you, then you just interrupted him with some random speech.
I didn't interrupt him.
Yeah, you interrupted him in that diplomacy check.
No. Yes, yep. Yep, that's what you did.
I still rolled. Well, whatever. So because I rolled high, you're not gonna tell me.
Going to tell you. Horse 1 intimidation.
Everyone is deathly afraid of Horse 1.
Well, how about that, everyone?
It's beady eyes. Alright, the party sets out from Sandpoint, following the coastal road south until they come upon Cougar Creek.
So is Saloro just rude and doesn't answer at all, or...?
Seems like
Saying
it.
he's gonna be rude, he's gonna be like, well, if you were actually competent in your field of expertise, you wouldn't need me to tell you, Arenoss.
Cougar Creek is a quite a wide river actually, flowing from the Asan Rise, and it is one of the main sort of sources of irrigation for the farms around it. As such, there are quite a few. And they are close to Sandpoint, so they are generally the sort of most well protected. And, well, the most well traveled also. You know for a fact that the Brine Stump Marsh at the south of the Ashen Moor is the sort of headquarters of the one goblin tribe you're pretty sure actually didn't participate in the Thistletop debacle. But the current events of the local heroes most likely have kept them at bay. Nevertheless, the party heads up Cougar Creek towards Habe's Sanatorium.
I'd actually be interested in making a stop at Cougar Creek in order to see where the barn, where the incident took place.
Certainly. You can certainly do that.
Yes, yes.
Erevan's feeling up to having a slight diversion, so...
Yeah, you know, how long does it take for us to traverse the hilly terrain separating Sandpoint from Cougar Creek?
Well, you are following the road, I assume.
Yep.
So the traveling shouldn't be too bad. It's maybe an hour or two to actually get around.
Wow. I'm okay with that. Wow. Oh, okay. Sure.
Sort of pass around it. You are riding all on horses. You're moving quite fast, and the road is good enough for you to actually pass along quite quickly.
The goblins are dead. Woo!
Woo! Party! So yeah, a couple of hours, and you sort of enter upon Cougar Creek. Now, to find the old barn, you basically need to do some scouting around, and that takes some more time, sort of to sidetrack here, as it were.
Hey, if you could help me, I'd be greatly appreciated by the 7 cities of the Rhine to take the, according to the old consultations of the Thessalonian Empire, what you end up with is, listen, I just need to find the damn barn, you know what?
You know what, forget everything I said. So, I'm guessing you're asking this of...
Any sort of like passerby peasants, you know, folks living in thatched roofs, huts, you know, living on the farm, you know, passerbys we might pass on the road now that, you know, we've made travel to and from Sandpoint much easier, you know, just sort of, I say, good sir, and basically what I like to imagine the arcane mutterings being a diplomacy check is that people just want to get away from him so bad, like, yes, you take this road and you go down that way, you'll find the sign. You take
Exactly.
the sign.
Because he's just constantly talking. He's like, well, let me tell you everything. When I was a little boy...
Brodart Quink succeeds in life, I think. He just succeeds on his diplomacy with. But I say, if you just take a look at the signs here on the sigils of the wall.
Like, right, help!
And draw the charts and analyze the prophecies and witness the portents and sacrifice 4 pigeons and 3 crows and 1 white dovetail. And the beak of another.
the farmer looks with glazed over eyes at Saloro. What? What did you say you wanted?
For, you know, such and such barn, you know. Great incident, horrible murder there took place just a few days prior. We're investigating on behalf of Sheriff Bale Hemlock. If you could help, certainly I would like to continue to scan the auguries and witness the turnings.
Yes. Quite, indeed. He sort of waves to Saloro to please stop. And he says, well, the old barn is over that way, over yonder. And he sort of points down one of the... It seems to be lesser traveled roads. No one really lives there anymore. I don't know what happened to the family, actually. He sort of hoists his rake or whatever it is he's holding. I'm pretty sure they moved away. Perhaps they found some better farming land south or some other place. He shrugs. Anyway, the barn has been abandoned for many years.
Oh yes, quite interesting. Well, if you'd like for me to return and share my findings on this rather intriguing matter and observe the various ruins, I only owe it to you for giving me such a boon of information. It would be rude for me not to try to compense you in some form of fashion.
My honor to help, but please. And he sort of tries to motions the party on, like, please leave.
Saloro just shrugs, suit yourself, and just rides away on Heinrich. Mission accomplished. That smug smile under his veil.
When the party leaves, the farmer sort of said, "What? Wait a minute. What's that?" He points to the scarecrow.
And turns around to the farmer and says, "Would you really like to hear the explanation?"
He sort of seems to mull this over. Sort of, would he brave this chasm? But then he says, "Well, we have heard some. Well, there are a few folk here telling stories." He points at the scarecrow. They say that some of the scarecrows have come alive, and was just, maybe has that one moved?
Shakes his head. "Not since I put it on the horse. No, it's just superstition. Scarecrows, unless they're animated by wizards or sorcerers or other sorts of things, don't move on their own, good dear sir. But if you'd like for me to explain the esoteric means by which a scarecrow may move, by all means, if you do I inscribing such
Help! Help!
3 more minutes later, and that's how baby scarecrows are made.
Help! He's killing me with words. The farmer shrugs and, "Oh well, best be on your way then, good sirs." And he makes his way quickly to disappear into the corners.
Saloro, again, the other party is definitely going to hear a loud chuckle from beneath the veil as he continues.
Are you done interrogating? Well, I shouldn't say interrogating, but talking to that man.
He's gone.
Very well. The party
way.
follows the way the old man pointed out, and soon comes upon a long abandoned farmstead. The house is little more than ruins. The barn is in better condition, no doubt, but still looks quite dangerous to enter, as if a stiff wind could probably topple it. There doesn't seem to be anyone around when the party arrives.
Much of anything here, but I wanted to see the site for myself, in the hopes I could pick up perhaps more clues regarding the rite being performed on the bodies.
That is fine. It's only a minor diversion anyway.
Right. So Saloro will dismount from Heinrich and then, because he's so awesome, stand in the middle of everything, and he's not gonna take 10. He's a goddamn wizard. That's right. Fuck you, take 10.
Wizard!
That's right. That means I can detect all sorts of, like, oh my god, with my detect magic sense the presence, I can sense level 16 magic items, powers, rituals, or magic phenomenon. 16!
My goodness.
Right.
Over 9,000, etc.
Where are
yes.
you level 16 rituals?
Yes. Drawing close to the barn, there certainly seems to be a faint magical aura sort of lingering here. Searching around, you do find the place where the sort of bodies were carved up, a lot of blood and stuff. And it seems once again that some sort of quite fierce battle probably has taken place here. Ultimately, the men succumbed, and this ritual or whatever it was performed. Now, the ritual is quite strange, and the sort of way to go about it's sort of archaic. And Saloro himself would probably not sort of do it like this, as far as he can discern. Still, it was some time ago, and he doesn't really, you can't really get complete details on what happened back then. But as far as Saloro can suss out, it seems that the ritual, first of all, involves, ritual carvings, of course, he knows that. But from the sort of faint magical how should you say, well, remnants of it, he would think that the ritual were used to siphon something from the bodies. Some sort of energy or something were most likely sort of pulled from the bodies. The remnants of arcane threads seems to indicate this.
Bro, standing within the barn, goes, Ioun, protect us. Dear.
Arenoss just looks at Saloro, says nothing.
Saloro looks at Eris. Oh, yes, right. Explanation of right. From what I'm telling, I spent too much time with Brodot. From what I'm discerning here, I'm thinking, based on the evidence that I had detected in the runes prior, the ritual was used to draw out something from these bodies. Perhaps their souls, in which case, that in itself is a serious affront, for if these souls were harvested in the consumption of some foul ritual, then they have been utterly annihilated, and for as unpeaceful as my years might have been, theirs have ended forever.
Right. Arenoss will try to confirm this. Main word being try, no?
Seems legit to him.
Yeah, yes, quite. Yeah. No, but
I see no that's fine.
that is most dire news indeed. Says. If they have been harvested, is there any way to release them?
Said, if they have actually been consumed, then they are gone. Permanently. Not even the intervention of a deity could restore a soul that has been utterly annihilated. Sorcerer tilts his head. At least I don't think. It would be rude to presume upon the powers of the deities, but I don't think anywhere in the teachings of Ioun it says, can bring soul back from annihilation. Shakes his head. No, you got me on that one.
Arenoss' eyes then will turn slightly red and
Yeah.
will look
If
down.
they are being stored in some sort of receptacle in preparation for a greater ritual, then it is possible, I think, to at least give them peace, although we would not be able to raise them. They would at least entreat with whatever afterlife their actions have earned them within the astral sea. But I don't think there's enough information to discern whether... I'm not even sure their souls themselves were taken, but it would be what I would hazard.
Alright. Who do you think could have done this then? Could a changeling have done this?
I'm not familiar enough with changelings. The individual who did this has to be someone who is not only proficient enough with archaic rite, but experienced enough and knowledgeable enough about ancient history with the Sahajian ruin, the rune, the 7-point star. In addition, they have to be powerful enough to actually harvest these things on a grand scale like this. Certainly, Saloro shrugs. I mean, Dualia came from Sandpoint and had some disagreements there, and her own determination combined with her natural heritage and the influence of Malfeshnikor, the Devourer, along with Lamashtu herself, granted her power. Similarly, this must be someone who has quite the power of their own. And as far as I know, Titus Garnetti is not that individual unless
No.
he has contacted some sort of friend or made some sort of pact which would, in exchange for these souls being harvested will grant him some sort of power, perhaps to overthrow the mayor.
There were such rumors going around town before you arrived. That he had contact with the outside and have had contact with the unsavory figures and had dealings with them to basically become the new mayor of the town, but nothing confirmed.
And those rumors were more along the line of sort of criminal contacts.
Oh yeah,
Sort of arcane might. Well, no one really knows.
no.
You've spoken of this before, Master. Now it begins. Join the pact and it will end.
There has been a few years associated with it, Erevan, but has there been any sort of infernal or demonic or nefarious pact or scheme or group to which you had been invited or entreated by and you rejected? By words or with deed? Certainly Malfeshnikor, from memory serves, I heard him, or it rather, angry at you while performing my ritual. It wouldn't be impossible to hazard he had somehow influenced or infected another, and acting out vengeance of some kind, but likely far-reaching and not really what's actually happening here.
Malfeshnikor is the only one that's ever come to my mind, but he seems doubtful. So, I have no idea.
Anyone that you have encountered who would actually address himself, not just to you but to others as your lordship? Like, it wouldn't even have to exactly be like a nobleborn, but someone who's sarcastic or, witty enough to actually put that down in some sort of snark gesture.
I can't think of anyone off the top of my head that would do that. Evan turns kind of just give a sigh.
Any of you others can find anything of import here, I think this resource is tapped for one such as myself. I will wait outside.
Right. Arenoss will walk around and smell for any rotting flesh.
Well, there is certainly a stench of sort of blood and gore inside here. But yes, there might be, when he walks around and smells, it might be something else. He can't really make it out. Perhaps Saloro's cinnamon smell sort of tampered some with the with the smell of the crime scene, as it were. He cannot really make out that very putrid or acrid smell that he felt before.
Yeah, and remains from the bodies here might still be here and started to rot, and that might have...
Might be. You don't really find any body parts, and you do remember that Sheriff Hemlock said that they gathered up as much of the bodies as they could.
Yeah, but there might be some under the floor if there's any cracks or something like that.
It could be. There isn't the floor inside the barn is not made of wood. It's stamped dirt.
All right. Well, then it tells the others that there might be some rotting flesh here, as there was in the sawmill, but he's not sure. Can't see any anyway.
If he's not sure, then Alvyn will take a closer look and hopefully see more. Or smell more.
Indeed. Alvyn can, when he sort of walks around and takes a closer look around, he does at certain areas sort of pick up this smell again, It's not as strong as the party experienced at the sawmill recently, but there is indeed something similar here.
I guess Alvyn will turn to Arenoss. Yes, it seems like the smell is around here as well, though far less strong than we have encountered before.
Yeah, right. You don't see any rotting flesh remaining?
No.
No.
Alright. Well, I guess there's not much else we can find here. The gods would have taken any clues back. Although they might have missed something, but I don't know. Roldar, any ideas?
Warlord scratches at his chin and shakes his head slowly.
Not any that come to my mind.
Alright. I think we should head off then.
Okay. Retreating out of the barn and setting out once again up Cougar Creek towards the sanatorium. It takes a few more hours to traverse these roads. They're not as well established as the coastal road. This takes a few hours more to finally reach Habe Sanatorium, and you approach it at basically approaching evening. You come upon the sanatorium, and you can copy your tokens.
Does that mean
Come on,
I
Wes.
should?
Horses as well?
Webb's coming with me.
For this, no, you don't need your horses.
No.
You
I
don't
want
need your
my
horses where you're going.
Say, I don't need my horse.